2.0. Welcome, mere mortalites, to another round of the Musings. You have Kyron here speaking. Juan
on the other end, folks. Juan on the other end.
As always, joins me. A musing session is where we get a bit more serious, a bit more structured, and there's going to be some coming changes, and this is going to be a sort of sum-up episodes of sort. And I'm calling this Mere Mortals 2.0.
Mere Mortals 2.0.
I want to distinguish a couple of things that we're going to be doing from now on, and you're going to see this across all of the Mere Mortals areas. So this is the Mere Mortals main podcast, obviously here, the Mere Mortals book reviews, and then also the Value for Value podcast.
Yep.
And so I really want to try and sum it up as best possible, create some clips that I can also share at different places and be like, hey, if you want to know what, Mere Mortals 2.0 / podcasting 2.0 is about, check out this clip. This is for you. And this can be for you as the listener, you as the podcaster, and some other things. So I want to start this off by saying I think what's distinguishing us now is that I'd say we're both committed. Like, there was probably a period where we're testing this out, testing out podcasting. What are we doing here? Is this something we want to do long term? And even getting up into the point where we're buying more equipment and whatnot, there was still the option of, we could stop this at any time if we wanted to, really. Like, there's no real obligation. There's no real strictness to this. I think we're past that point. I think we're at the point, I never say never, so
that's true. Never say never. That's right.
That I'm never going to stop podcasting, but I will say that I'm 99.9% committed to podcasting now, and I'm also 99.9% certain that we're not going to have ads of the traditional sort. So using the traditional advertising model, we're a value for value podcast now. So two sides to this. I think that you're going to see as the listener, you beautiful soul, mere mortalite, you're going to see some changes that are going to be beneficial for you. And then there's more, so this is the new features I'm talking more about. And then on our side of things, and as other podcasters, which I'm going to recommend this to, this is for the value for value and how micropayments work. Sure. So you've talked about before how one of the things that you would have found really beneficial is to have like a how-to video of this is how you use this thing.
That's right.
I want to create one of those. I really do like a good one of those and be like, hey, this is how you do it. Thing. So I want to start off with some features for the listener. So you as a listener, you're a person who loves podcasting and you've been listening to podcasts for ages. This is some of the things that the Mere Mortals 2.0 is going to offer for you. So one, start with you handsome son of a gun. There's going to be some things such as live captions while listening. I can't 100% guarantee that for us, but in other podcasting apps, you'll be able to see this. There's also going to be pictures or links on the screens. So this is if you're listening via one of these new apps, there's going to be chapters in there. And so we're going to be talking about something. I'm going to say something about elephants, and you're going to see right now an elephant on the screen.
Yep.
Bam. Done. If we're talking about something interesting like a new NFT or cryptocurrency or etc., I'm going to include a link to that if there is a link that makes sense. So you'll be able to easily go, oh, that's cool. So if you ever hear us say, look at your screen now, look at your screen, and there's going to be something interesting popping up there.
Yep.
There's going to be a video podcast, so if you do enjoy the Mere Mortals and you want a small clip that's easily findable on your podcasting player, you're going to find that in there. There is a ability to do that. I'll talk more about that later, how you can do that.
And what that means for users out there, for listeners, just if you have checked out Joe Rogan's Spotify, Joe Rogan's podcast on Spotify, where you have the ability to actually watch it on a podcast platform. That's basically what we're talking about.
Yeah. So essentially, a lot of these things are ways of mitigating you having to go elsewhere. So there's so many times I've heard in podcasts, oh, go check out this link, and there's a link, but it's somewhere in the show notes. I have no idea which one it is. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'll put this link in the show notes. And they'll either forget or there'll be 7 links in there, and I have no idea which one it is. Yeah. In this case, when I say there's a link you can click on,
it's going to be
right on your screen that you can click on that. Now, all of this is with the caveat that it's going to require some effort on your part. So you're going to have to be on one of these new podcasting apps. So if you're on the traditional ones, this might in the future be something they pick up, but for the moment, for this instant that you're hearing this, you're probably going to be wanting to transfer onto a new app, or at least try out a new app to see what the experience is like. And I can guarantee you it's probably going to be better.
Yeah.
One, you had an experience last night with, two nights ago with Podcast Addict on Android Auto.
Yep.
Which was something,
we haven't really seen. Yep.
Yeah. So this was getting that chapter image art, in your car on the little dash screen there.
Which is good. That would have been like, oh, cool. Like something else popped up that they're talking about, and I went, I'll refer to it. Oh, okay, awesome.
So that elephant I was talking about, he could see the elephant on his car screen without having to even pull out his phone app. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Now, for the podcasting side of things, this is, because we do interact with a lot of podcasters. This is just something I really like to do, reaching out with them. I'm so invested in podcasting just as a whole that I have to be in that, and I love doing it as well. So from a podcaster standpoint of view, these are some of the things that are beneficial for you. So this is the ability for micropayments from supporters. So this is some like the ability
micropayments in the cryptocurrency format.
In cryptocurrency format at this moment, potentially in the future, but right at this time, micropayments from Bitcoin in particular. There'll be a locked feature. So these are all things that are existing at this moment. So if you are a person who is worried about your podcast being taken and used in other places, so this actually happens a lot. Tim Ferriss, there are multiple people trying to take his feed, and they can. Like the feed's there available for anyone. They can import that into another podcasting host, get it up, put the exact same title, images, and essentially put that out. Now that's stealing in a way, like, you're stealing his content.
Yep.
So there is an ability to put locked on your podcast, and then it will hosts who are part of this, 2.0 will then say, no, I'm not going to accept that feed because they've locked that feed. So essentially an honor system, a way of stopping things like that happening. There is going to be best of snippets, for example. So you can create a soundbite, and this is something that your audience can go to, and it'll be in your feed, like right at the top, sort of like a trailer, but in an enhanced version where it doesn't need to be like sitting in your feed somewhere as something like, right down in the middle or whatnot. It can be a soundbite that's just there. You can sort of order them how you want, and it's enhanced ways of people being able to go to your podcast like right now and seeing like, this is what this is about. So many times right at the top there'll be a 2-hour long episode, and you're just going,
you're like, oh, it's a big investment.
I'll click on this, and then it's like 15 minutes of ads right at the start. Oh geez, like, is this what this podcast is about? And there might be some fantastic things in it, but you just have no idea because you're getting the very worst experience right at the start.
Yep.
So those are the main ones. Also funding. So if you have a PayPal or Patreon, or you have a website where you can accept fiat money in particular, there's a lot of podcast players right out there which have, someone clicks on your name, Mere Mortals, you can see right at the top a donate button or a PayPal button or whatever, and you can just immediately click that. So another way for you as a podcaster to fund yourself, because nothing is free. If you go to the Value for Value episode, episode number 4 that I recently released, free is never free. Free is never free.
That's right.
So what are your thoughts on that one as a podcaster? Does any of those excite you, get you?
I think the main one that excites me is, again, just the removal of ads and the inclusion of being paid in different means, whether it's cryptocurrency, whether it's traditional fiat currency. Like, that's really cool. That to me is like, oh, that's going to be an awesome thing in the future, because then it not just for us, but for anybody, any podcast creator, it enables to be like, okay, if you create a good product in the value for value model, then one, you've got the ability to create like a really quality thing, and people will pay you directly. You don't have to care about going and find something to advertise to. And then the only reason that you might be advertising is because it's more specific to what you are doing. And by that, I mean, like, if we started advertising to you, let's just say kettlebells for a particular company, we're going to do it because we want to do it. Like, we believe in this thing. Like, that's why we're talking about it, because it's cool. Not for the whole reason of like, oh, well, we're doing it because it allows the funding. No, like, you don't have to do that at all. So it still allows you to do that if you want to, but you don't have to, because then there's other means. So I think for most podcasters, I feel like that would be a good win, a real good win.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many I've come across where it's someone shilling out for something they don't really care about, and they'll even include it in their, host read. Oh man, this is, this product, although it broke for me the other day, sort of thing. Like almost
really?
like, yeah.
I couldn't bring myself to do that.
There's some out there, man, where it's just so obvious that they do not care, but they're reading this for the money.
Yeah, okay.
There's ones, it's always funny where some things recently with the dynamic insertion of ads, where people are getting stuff on their own podcast which they have no idea about, and yet it's just like sort of their condition of having joined Spotify or whatnot.
Yeah,
we're going to get ads rolling in, almost like the YouTube, where the brands are being put in front of videos that they don't want to be put in front of. Almost the vice versa, where it's the podcaster is having shit that they don't want being put into their podcast, and it's just they're by association. Yeah. It's I'm shilling now for the American military, or I'm now shilling for this brand of mattresses, which in fact screwed me over a couple of years ago or whatnot.
Yeah, and you have like no real control over that as well. So I think that's a cool thing.
Yeah. So all of this stuff that I mentioned right there is there right now. So like you can use these things right now. They're a bit difficult. There's not a huge market proliferation, but it's all right there. And I feel it's coming. Like it's a coming wave. It'll just keep going and going. And you were talking about Gary Vee recently, and I was just thinking, I have a feeling he'd be interested in something like micropayments, value for value split, being able to get, this guy did the sound editing, he's going to get 5% of what comes in. This guest is coming on my podcast, here's an incentive for them to come on, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I have a feeling like, obviously it's too early because it's not going to work if someone of his level was trying it out, but that sort of stuff is like, it's just so cool, man.
And look,
so
we're currently, it's September the 5th, 2021, and look, you might be listening to this podcast, and we don't know. You might be listening to this podcast right now, very soon before, around the time we release it. You might be looking at this a year on. All we can say is, like, at the time we're releasing this today, it's at a place where you can do all these things. Yes, the market penetration of it with the broader podcasters, I'm going to say that there's probably, 10,000 podcasts right now that are in the Value for Value chain?
No, not even that. There's 1,500.
Okay, so there's 1,500, and there's more than 2 million podcasts.
5 of them are ours.
Yeah. So there's 2+ million. So penetration wise, we're below 0.1%, right? So it's very, very new. But what we're saying here is we believe this is probably where things are going, towards a more decentralized, a more secure, a more you manage rather than someone else be managing the product that you're producing. And look, we're not saying this is going to be a 2022, 2023. Like, I genuinely imagine this maybe doubling or quadrupling year on year, to the point where it's going to be almost a break-even system where, you'll have 10,000, 20,000 people, and people are going to start going like default to those areas as opposed to the other. Now, I think we held different beliefs as to what may happen eventually in podcasting. I'm more in the side of, I think some of the bigger players like Spotify and Apple will just do M&As and buy out all of these players, but then introduce these functionalities into these things. Yeah. Or will these new ones become, new behemoths? Either way, from a podcast perspective, this is what we see coming in the future. From a listener perspective, get used to it, because you're going to get all this extra value. So if you enjoy watching, imagine watching. So this is the example that I could give. Like, if you were this is the experience you're going to have of the Mere Mortals, or other podcasts in the 2.0 space. Imagine watching Joe Rogan's podcast on Spotify as a video format, with the addition that you're going to have chapters where you can very clearly go, oh, okay, I want to go to this section.
He's talking about MMA. I've never really liked MMA. I want to go to the meat-based diet.
Sure. Bang. Straight to the meat-based diet. And then they quickly reference something like, oh, I was actually eating this particular steak from this particular, restaurant. Actually, look, I'll send you a link so people can go and check them out. Link will be available. You can literally click it. It'll still be playing. You'll go to the link. You'll purchase your bloody steak. You'll go back and keep watching all in the one go.
Yeah, all of it while it's still going. Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, wow,
yeah, that's
fantastic.
That's for me the real main bit is just, it's cool for me to see as a way of me, like, I guess, earning a living from this, not having to do what I would term as selling out in or doing ethically dubious things such as shilling for products I don't give a shit about and whatnot. That I love that aspect, but man, the features is what really got me. Being able to have a crafted experience that's so different from podcasts how they are now. Now, yes, some of these are going to be overkill. You know, if you're jogging and listening to a podcast, you're probably not going to want or need these things, but it's nice having them there as well. You know, having a backup for your car or your car battery. You know, you don't need it. It's going to be sitting in my house. If you're harkening back to episode 225, I think it was, the meanderings before this, 227. Yeah, it's going to be sitting there. Now it's a nice to have. Like, it's good. I'm glad I have that there. So some of the other features that are likely coming soon, and then some that, I potentially would like, and this is, me being, like, probably the most creative I've ever been. So, goddamn, like, enjoy this moment, people, because this is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. So some stuff that's definitely coming. There's the live. So there's being able to imagine the YouTube live where you can, or Twitch or your streaming ones where people are doing things live. Imagine that in your podcasting app. So you can hear your favorite podcaster talking live and having that interaction with them. A chat would be associated with that. That's like almost a requirement. So, a scrolling chat. So, there's a chat room. You can interact with other people all live. There's a certain element of that live, it's happening right now, which captures us for whatever reason. And, it's very, very cool. Another one, cross-platform commenting. So YouTube is great because everyone uses it. It's like the one main place. And so the comments there are a source of great information. That's probably the main thing I get from YouTube. That's the main feature that if it went away, like I would question how much YouTube I would listen to or watch, and would go elsewhere, probably to a podcasting platform. So imagine that you're in your favorite app and you've got tastes suited more to music, and you're listening to a music podcast or something, but there's another person who's on a completely different app. You leave a comment, they can see that same comment, reply to that same comment. Yes, things like that. Other ones, direct two-way communication with your favorite podcaster, but being able to, appear to them more in their face, more right away, that direct communication. So we talked about boostergrams at the start. In the previous episode. There's also, the problem with that, it's one way at the moment. But imagine you can do that, and then they can reply to your boostergram. Once again,
that would be cool.
Just a very cool thing to be like, you know what, Tim Ferriss, that thing that he just said then is worth $10. I'm going to send him a message for that $10, and that won't just be a $10 that's lost in his PayPal or lost in his products or whatever. So
that's right. Yeah,
very cool things. Now, I have intentionally not spoken much about the middle side of this, which is the developers. So this is, the app developers with the namespace, the pod ping, the improvements in their area, and how you can be, as a listener, you're sort of stuck with whatever the apps there are that are, created out there. There's not that many. There's a space now creating where developers can come in and they can be part of this value that's flowing through. And so there's an incentive for them to create a good app. We talked with Alex Troll. I connected with him like start of 2020.
2020, yeah.
And, he was doing that on his own dime, trying to create something that he thought would be really good. There's definitely other people out there who are doing that, but I believe that he got, detoured or sidetracked along the way because of the money aspect. It's really hard to make that a full-time gig to get money from it, because I don't know about you, but I've never given Spotify money. I've never given Google Podcast money. I've never given, basically any of these ones that I've tried out before. How is it that they're making money? They've got huge companies attached to them. That's how. So that's another aspect. But as we're not developers, we're not going to really get into that so much. No.
But just to know, there is obviously the middle layer of infrastructure that gets dealt in there, and you can play in the role as well if you're a developer. But you'll have to go find that out. Go find more information about that.
For sure. The last one was more Mere Mortals 2.0. So it's just some changes coming, some updates for you listening at home, so you can go, oh, okay, I understand why this is happening now. So there's going to be more concise directions of how you can participate to have a better Mere Mortals experience, and then also how you can help support us out so that give and take the value and value
Definitely.
going both ways. We've already talked about this somewhat, but the meanderings is going to be definitely more looser, more free-flowing, probably more jokey in general, and we're going to do a blending and merging of our old themed episodes and the musing. So the problem we've both sort of seen recently is that the meanderings and musings were essentially the same.
We were just talking like topics and things that we wanted to in each one, and sometimes it would blend.
Yeah, so now one of us will pick a topic that we'll focus on for that week. There'll still be the give and take. This has been, there's still a conversation aspect here. So it's not just going to be you presenting like, blah information and NFT or whatnot. But we do want to make it more structured than it was previously. There'll be a couple of things that are exclusively audio only. So I'm thinking the monthly goals here.
Yep.
There's going to be a couple of things that are probably going to be video only. So this might be the app explanation, how you can use Breeze or something like that.
Yeah.
So just be aware that, if you're one of those people who wants everything, you're probably going to have to be subscribed onto the YouTube and then also onto the audio, and you'll notice that there might be one or two things popping up. But for the general part, it's going to be an experience for both. So
correct.
You can listen to us via the video, or watch us via the video, I should say, and then also listen to us via audio. I don't know, do you ever see us going down a particular route where it would be focusing really on the video and so the audio experience would be lessened, or do you think we'll still try and keep this middle ground?
I feel like it'll be very middle ground.
Yeah.
I think the stage of just being in one location, I can't really see anybody else at the moment even doing it. Just like, I can't think of one podcast who's doing that, where it's like no video at all, only audio, or maybe vice versa. There probably is some people out there. I just don't know of them. So to me, I'd say I feel like that's going to be the way out.
Tim Ferriss is maybe one of the only ones who can somewhat get away with it.
But he still does video. He still does video. On YouTube.
So he's got a static image that he puts on his video.
Sometimes. Other times he has got the full video, like him having a chat with Kevin Rhodes.
Yeah, video. Exactly. So there's for us, it's probably going to be middle ground, and we'll try and keep both of them going well. Yeah. So one could argue that the birds chirping in the background is a detraction from the audio side of things, potentially, but also it's kind of a nice thing as well. So it's, there's that middle point you got to find between optimizing purely for the video and then also for the audio. There's still going to be plenty of explanation of new 2.0 features. So this is going to be a place where if you want an enhanced podcasting experience, just keep tuning in, because we're going to be going over them. I'm going to be testing them out myself. Yep. I'm going to be giving you recommendations of, try out this app. This is really cool. Don't try out this app. This is not,
not quite there yet.
They're not getting there, or they're showing less interest. Sphinx, for example. Sphinx Chat was something that was real important right at the start, because they were the ones sort of integrating, first of all, the micropayments and whatnot. They're going a different route. And so when you go onto their app now, it's not a podcasting app. It's becoming something different.
Okay.
Yep. Boostergrams and appreciations we're really going to show in the meanderings episode. So if you send us a boostergram during the week and you're like, what the shit, why aren't they talking about it?
Yeah.
It'll be in the meanderings. That's where you can find it. And I've put a schedule out. It's still going to be, 95% there'll be something coming out each day. So whether that be the Mere Mortals, a conversation on the Mere Mortals, a Mere Mortals book review twice per week, value for value coming out once per week, and then little bonus ones that we include,
like monthly goals,
my book recaps, the exclusive video just for an app, that sort of thing.
Yep,
those are all going to be a bonus thing. So the schedule is there. You can trust the schedule 95% of the time.
That's right, 95% of the time,
5% of the time. So 6% of the time, every time. And I think that is my main explanation.
Yeah, objective of it. Good.
2.0.
And look, Mere Mortal Lights out there. This was a particular little podcast for you to just kind of get an understanding of just broadly what we're doing, what is going to be known now as Mere Mortals 2.0, basically in our minds.
Look, we're still going to say Mere Mortals. I just wanted to use the 2.0 to distinguish of, this is a bit of a different phase.
But it marks a clear delineation in terms of we're not doing this for the point where we're big enough so that we bring on advertisers. No, like our focus is We want to build a good product and get people utilizing the Podcasting 2.0 platform, because one day it'll be a larger, portion. And what we want, obviously, we're going to get value because you're going to be tuning in through those platforms.
Yeah.
And we hope to get you value by introducing you to that, plus just tuning in and having some good times.
It's a somewhat symbiotic relationship.
That's right. Not parasitic, symbiotic.
Yeah, that's it.
So maybe it could be parasitic. I'll come and suck you. I'll suck in your skin till you start bleeding.
Why not find Adam Curry and just give me all your RSS feeds.
Suck your boostergrams out. Suck your boostergrams out. That's what I'm gonna do. No.
I was actually thinking, like, man, there's got to be a, at what point would someone try and come in and like fuck around with it? So, for example, that at the moment, they're sort of using this weird method of getting the value block into an RSS feed, but they're not particularly, owning the feed. Like, it's not like this is going into Buzzsprout. I'm not going to Buzzsprout, where our podcast is hosted now, and putting our value block in there, like the essentially our address for where the Bitcoin is meant to go, the Satoshis are meant to go. I can totally see some, ingenious, clever hacker coming and going along and being like, actually sucking up some boostergrams meant for other people. So I'll be, it's that constant fight that there is between.
Look, again, we'll probably put this, right? This is a caveat to everything we've been talking about as well. A lot of this is still
new.
In the very new inception phase. Do not play around with money that you are not prepared to absolutely if you're putting in
100%.
money that you're willing to give away, you're basically if you go in there and say, okay, I'm going to put $100 and I'm going to listen to different things, and that's going to last you a long time. That's going to last you a long, long time. Just be prepared that maybe, like, I'm not saying it's going to definitely happen, but maybe there might be a case that something crashes and you lose it. Right, you lose it. So
view it like you would a physical wallet with cash in it. So I don't go around with thousands of dollars in my wallet. That would be silly.
That would be silly.
I have money in certain locations. I've got some at my house. I've got some. I think I've got some in my car. Just
as in like cash.
Cash, just bits and pieces, because you never know when you're going to need some cash. Potentially, you go to X country. I did this while traveling as well. I'd keep some on me. I'd keep some in my suitcase. I'd keep some in a separate bag that I usually kept in a locker, etc., etc. So view it like that. View it as something that, it would really suck to lose your wallet. It would suck if someone broke into your car and stole all your pennies. But it's not the end of the world. You're going to survive.
Yeah.
Don't keeping 10,000 Bitcoins in your Lightning node wallet. That's not the greatest idea.
Or you by mistake send 10 Bitcoins on Boostergram to somebody. Well, you can do it to us. Like, feel free. If you feel like, if you're one of those really, really charitable people who made it big in 2011 and you went, you know what? These guys are delivering good value. I'm going to send them 10 Bitcoin through Boostergram. First of all, I'd give you a shout out. I'd give you a shout out for sure.
For like the next every episode for the, it's like 20 minutes of just shouting out this one person for every episode from now on. Look, if you want to do that, I would actually suggest hitting me up personally for a Bitcoin address you can send that to, rather than using the Lightning Network. That might not be the smartest way. But yes, those are the main changes that you'll see. Those are the main emphasis that's going to be coming. And, like the point of the Mere Mortals, one of the points is like we take pride in what we're creating. We really want to create something that's awesome. Like I want this to be something that even I do listen to every episode because I edit them, come back one day and be like, fuck, I want to find that episode where they said this thing. That was really funny. Yeah. Or, man, you know what? They had a really cool person on back in 2021. I want to check this out again because they made some predictions then and I want to see that. So,
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, like this is not something we do. It's not a fuck around anymore. This is like serious stuff.
Apart from meandering, there's a fuck around.
You need some of that.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, Mere Mortalites, that is the sum up of the Mere Mortals.
That's been Musings Mere Mortals 2.0 today.
Exactly. So
and
you will have noticed...
What are we going to leave them with? What's going to be the recommendation today?
Like I said, here's one recommendation. We've already talked about the Android Auto, so you can actually get the images popping up on your Android Auto car. That's very cool. I would give a recommendation for, let's just keep it general, newpodcastapps.com. If you go over to that site, you can find a list of all of these new apps. Apparently the site is updating soon as well, so it'll look a little bit nicer and cleaner. And then if you're a podcaster, so that's on the listener side, you can go there, you can find these new things. don't even have to send us sats. Go to one of those and you'll be able to get the enhanced Mere Mortals experience.
That's right.
The other one would be for the podcaster side of things. So you're a podcaster, you enjoy doing that sort of thing. I would suggest trying out a new host, to be honest. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. It is annoying, but there's two things. One, I would almost guarantee at some point you're going to need to switch host. If you're in this for the long run, you're probably going to need to switch host because you will find their fee structure doesn't work for you. You've got, this many podcasts, this is going on. And then of that, the one that is really keeping up to the times and the innovations and the features at the moment, I would say is Buzzsprout. They're the ones who are really keeping on top of it. And so that's why we are personally switching over to them. So, but you know what? I would also just say, try out a new host because you'll probably find a fee structure that's better. You'll probably find something that's like in that.
If you're a podcast,
maybe not try it out. Do the research because you will likely find.
If you're a podcaster out there and you've been doing it for more than, let's say, 3 months and you're starting to get serious about it, I would say that almost for certain you picked a podcast host at the beginning that you thought was right for you then, but it might not be the same one that's going to be right for you a year, 2 years as you get bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
So that is our recommendations. And other than that, Mere Mortalites, thank you for joining us to this point.
Beautiful.
We do appreciate everything that you're doing and helping us out with. It's all very much appreciated.
Always. Mere Mortalites, that's it. One out.
Karen out. Wahoo!